Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. I'm Molly Cooney.
And I'm Jason Hoffman. The fire started early this morning in the town of Dedham. It's located on County Road N33, about 7 miles west of Coon Rapids. News Channel 8 was first to break this story, and Virginia Huey is live in Dedham. She joins us via News Star 8 with the latest. Virginia?
Tell you, the fire just leveled a 60-foot wooden grain elevator that is located behind these two white grain bins that you see behind me. You can see the black smoke that's still shooting out right now. Now, they do have it under control, and we do have some home video shot by Joyce Halber. Let's take a look at the video at this time. The fire broke out at about 7 a.m. this morning, where some workers heard an explosion and saw a fireball shooting from the granary. At this point, fire officials believe a grain dust explosion sparked the blaze, which burned out of control for more than 3 hours. The main problem they had here was getting enough water to fight the fire. About 125 firefighters brought water in from nearby ponds, gravel pits, and from the town's water system. And Dedham firefighters say this is one of the worst fires they've battled.
Well, when we came out of town there, we could see the flames were coming up through the roof already, and we got here and we called for mutual aid from the surrounding towns, Templeton and Coon Rapids, right away. And by the time we got set up with everything, we just kept calling other towns for mutual aid. There's nothing really we could do different.
Now, the smoke is still coming out, and we have their crews in back of that white building right there.
Going up in flames today, the blaze breaking out at 7 o'clock this morning at the Farmers Co-op in Dedham. Workers first noticed the flames shooting from the roof of the 40-year-old grain bin this morning, and about 3 hours later, the 70-foot-tall storage building collapsed in flames. More than 100 firefighters from 7 surrounding towns helped to put out the fire.
The only major obstacle we had at first was keeping enough water on hand. But with the great response we got from the neighboring communities, we were able to get caught up and get it under control.
Fire officials believe an electrical short caused the fire. The state fire marshal has been called in to investigate. Well, the search continued this afternoon for a 9-year-old Perry boy who appears to have drowned in the North Raccoon River. The victim, 9-year-old Eugene Jackson.
Western Iowa Co-op, in case the fire flares up. Just after 7, a worker at the Dedham Cooperative saw smoke coming from the roof of a grain storage building. By the time firefighters arrived on the scene, the wood and steel building was engulfed in smoke and flames. All the corn was removed from the building, and just before 10, the grain building collapsed. A rush hour commuter train slammed into a
Farmers Co-op in Dedham collapsed in flames when a blaze burned for more than 3 hours.
Virginia Huey of our Ames Live Link was the first reporter on the scene this morning. She joins us now with more on what happened. Virginia?
Well, Kevin, the 40-year-old granary is a total loss, but the loss of property could have been much worse without the help of 100 good neighbors. Dedham fire crews were only 5 minutes away from the Farmers Co-op when the blaze broke out, but the 40-year-old granary was already a lost cause when they got there.
The call came in at 7 o'clock. We were on the scene at 7:05. The fire was just breaking to the roof.
Fire officials believe an electrical short sparked the fire. The 70-foot wood and steel building collapsed in flames and ashes.
We called for mutual aid from the surrounding towns, Templeton and Coon Rapids, right away. And by the time we got set up with everything, we just kept calling other towns for mutual aid.
This home video shows why extra hands were needed to fight the fire. 125 firefighters from 7 surrounding towns tried to bring the blaze under control, but it raged with no mercy for 3 hours.
There's really nothing we could do to save it.
The main problem was getting enough water to fight the flames. A chain of firefighters shored up their own water supplies from nearby ponds, gravel pits, and the town's water system.
We had water coming from probably 20 trucks were hauling water to us.
Dedham lost a building, but the town learned what good neighbors it has in a time of crisis.
With the great response we got from the neighboring communities, we were able to get caught up and get it under control.
Now, the state fire marshal will make his investigation tomorrow, and fortunately, no one was injured in this fire. Kevin and Cynthia.
At least that's good to hear. Thanks very much, Virginia.
Elsewhere this morning after a corn silo went up in flames at Dedham Co-op. Tom Cox tells us things quickly shifted into high gear when fire crews found themselves in a battle to save the entire complex.
A smoking pile of twisted metal and charred timbers is all that's left of an empty 70-foot tall corn storage building at the Dedham Community Co-op. Firefighters in Dedham got the call at 7 this morning. They were soon joined at the scene by 9 crews from surrounding communities. But even all that manpower could not stop the inevitable.
It was too far gone when it broke through the roof. Other than that, the only thing we could do was cool down the silos. It was getting fairly hot.
The fire was well under control by mid-morning. A neighboring structure is charred, but apparently unharmed. The cause remains a mystery, and co-op members are now faced with the task of rebuilding.
I think we can bounce back from it. It's a devastating blow. Our storage is gone, but we'll find a place for the corn.
By afternoon, it's business as usual at the co-op, but it might have been a different story any other time of year. While there may not be such a thing as a good time to have a fire, with the grain bins empty and with harvest still over a month away, this fire could have been much worse for the Dedham Co-op. In Dedham, Tom Cox, News 5.
Co-op officials are meeting to determine